Hello and welcome back to Pink Monarch Prints. My name is Bobby and I'm a guest designer from Precious Memory Boxes Junk Journaling here on YouTube. And today I'm going to be using the June 2025 subscription kit. It is Rosewood Estates and we're going to be making a double-sided journaling card with hidden spots. So something I'm really excited about is I'm going to use some vellum on this. And I wanted to show you guys, I've used vellum before, but I've never printed it myself before. And so I printed this lovely page from the kit on vellum. And I was going to show you the vellum I used in case you were interested. I got this off of Amazon. And so you can screenshot that if you want the same kind. I will say you have to watch it. Make sure it enters your printer the proper way because it is very thin and it would easily bunch up in there. You could maybe try to tape it to a piece of printer paper and run it through that way. But it did go through once I watched it and made sure it started right and it was fine. So I'm excited to get to use the vellum today. And you do have to let it dry a few minutes. It was a little bit wet when it came out of my printer, but it only took maybe 2 or 3 minutes and it was dry. So I am really excited to try this today. All right, so I have a piece of 110-pound cardstock. It's just pin and gear. And I printed 2 different designs from the kit, a more neutral rose-colored one here, and then one with a pattern for the back. And I cut this 4 wide by 6 long. So basically an index card size. And for the front side of our card is where my vellum came into place. And so what I did is I cut a piece first at, let me think here, it was 3.5 wide. So that way there's only 1/4 of an inch on each side. And then, if I remember right, I cut it at 5.5 long, and then I cut an inch-long piece here at the top. And so we're going to start with that and glue it on. And with vellum, one of the glues that works best for it is the Bearly Arts, but you just want to put a very thin line because you know, you don't need a lot of glue, and sometimes if you use too much glue with vellum, it might buckle it. So just put enough to, you know, secure it. This is going to be completely down, so as you can see, I put the glue on here very lightly, and I'm going to try to center this and kind of keep it 1/4 of an inch on each side and from the top. Just eyeing that. Okay, there we go. And then that will in order me to have a little gap to be able to slide my journaling card down in there. So I want to, before I do anything, I want to cut a notch in here for the card to slide in and out of. So I've got a large paper punch here. Just use whatever you have. You can also, if you don't have a paper punch, you could use one of the pockets from the kit and lightly trace it on there and cut it out that way. So let me grab this, and now I've never used this on vellum before, so I'm going to grab an extra piece of paper here and use that to help because sometimes these punches don't like when you put really thin paper in them. And I'm just going to eyeball that to the best of my ability and center it. You can measure it out if you like. There we go. All right, that worked pretty well. Might want to save that little piece. That might come in handy for something else. And then I'm debating whether I want to add a strip of something else here for interest, or I also have some lace that we could run across here. I think I like the lace. So let me cut that lace to size here. And I'm sorry, let me make sure I'm in camera. Sorry about that if I wasn't. And that's before, I'm going to just do this real quick before I glue this down. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to, again, very easily, and I want to make sure that, yep, that's going to work. Do make sure that the circle that you cut, that your the circle piece that I have here, or you will have, is big enough to cover that opening, because that's part of the hidden fun part. All right, so just very lightly putting the glue around the edges. It's hard to have a steady hand sometimes. Okay, I put glue on this top up here. I think I'm going to take that off for now. And if we find it's moving around too much, we can go back in and add glue to that. Okay, so you want to line this up as best you can with your top piece. Okay, and then you're also going to try to leave about 1/4 of an inch at the bottom. So I think that looks pretty good. Just trying to make sure it's even all the way around. And so then I'm going to add that beautiful vellum there. All right. Now you could take your lace and put it across here and cut that out, but you would have had to have done that before, before we cut the notch in it. But I'm going to leave that for now and see where at the end we would like to have it. Now this is one of the journaling cards from the kit, and I just printed a neutral background on it. I inked the sides because I didn't want everybody to have to wait on me to ink. And that is the journal card. I'm going to slide down here in the front. Now what I'm going to do, because I don't want to be able to see it, is I'm going to line that up right here with the top of this. And then I'm going to take my piece here and I'm going to decide where I need to put it. I want it to cover up the circle, and I also wanted it to overlap there. So I think that's going to be great. And what I'm going to do instead of putting glue on the circle is I'm going to put some glue on the journaling card. Try not to overdo it, but enough to grab the circle. All right. And then let me decide again how I'm going to line this up. Make sure it's straight. All right, we'll let that glue set for just a moment so that can set. And then I wanted a little something more on the front. So I took some of the stickers for this month's kits, and I have those here. These are the stickers from Pink Monarch Prints for the June subscription kit. I'll go through those real quick so you can see them. They're on clear sticker paper, which I love. And we've got some labels, the flowers. We also have some beautiful birds, some strawberries, and then also like some little, what would you call these? You could use them part of clusters, but just kind of like as a background type of stamp. So that's where I got this from. And what I did, because I didn't think it would show up on the vellum background, I added it to a piece of just plain paper so that it would have a little bit of a background. And I did take my dauber and I inked around it and just rubbed ever so slightly across here to make the white not be so standoutish. And then I also have a number card there. So let's go ahead and glue those down. You can see my paper I used on the back side. That was from last month's kit, or no, that was from the Whimsical kit, the beautiful purple kit. There we go, a little something on the front. All right, and let's see how our card is doing. There we go, perfectly. And because this is so pigmented, this beautiful vellum, you can tell there's a card in there, but you really can't tell what its purpose is. All right, let's decide where we want our lace. We could put it on there, or we can maybe just lift that up ever so slightly and put it under there. I think I like that. I think I'm going to have to find something to add to that. I think it needs something on it. So let's see, I've got that lace, but I have another lace here that I'm almost wondering what it would look like. Let's see what this would look like. Yeah, I don't think that one would look as nice. Let's go with this one. And I just ever so slightly want to put it under there. And I'm just going to put little streaks of glue on here. Try not to get it too saturated. You may have to, come back later if it seems loose and add a few more daubs to it. But I think that will hold it. And I'm going to try to lift that up ever so slightly so it looks like it's under it. There we go. I could have just pulled it out, not thinking. Silly me. There we go. We'll do that and put it right at the bottom of the hole there. All right. Then we can slide this back down into place. Got my fingers on there, so I'm keeping the card from sliding in. There we go. And like I said, this might need to add a little more glue to that. We'll just do that. There we go. A little more on this side. There we go. Make sure that looks straight. All right. Now, what do we want to add? I feel like it needs something there, but I'm just not sure. We've got this extra piece here. Let's see, I've got a smaller one. What if we doubled them up? Oh, I think that looks beautiful. I'm going to double those up. Might trim the edge off of this just so you can see a little bit more of that pattern paper. Sorry, my table is rocking there. Been trying to figure out why this table is rocking. We can't figure out what's causing it to rock. The legs are even, so we're not sure. Okay, there we go. Let's do that. There we go. Yes, you can see a little more of the pattern that way. So let me add some glue, and then we'll flip over and do our back side. And excuse my hands. I've been inking and stuff, so if they look a little inky, that's what's been going on. All right, there we go. And there is the front side of our card. Now we're going to flip over, and this is one of the pieces in the kit, and I thought it made a great side tuck. So I'm simply going to glue it down, and I'm going to glue from here all the way around to the bottom, and then the rest of it we will leave open so that it's easy enough for the cards to sign in and out. All right, and I'm just gonna, ooh, dropped it there. I'm just gonna try to center it here. Oops. There we go. I'm just getting my glue everywhere today. All right, so pressing that down, and while we're prepping our other cards over here, we will be able to let that dry. Okay, so I cut out, okay, I have something rocking on my table, and I'm going to move that so it'll quit rocking. I just cut out one of the journaling cards, neutral background, and I love it just like it is. So that one's going to go in just as it is. And that would be perfect enough on its own if you wanted to leave it like that. But I also wanted to make another one of these side cards as a pull-out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in here again and measure. I want it to be able to fit right inside there. And so I am going to, and I think I forgot to ink this one. Where's my little dauber? What did I do with it? There it is. And I'm just using Vintage Photo. There we go. And I'm just going to use this to kind of, I want to make sure, you know, that I'm not going to go over that. And I'm going to do like I did last time. I'm just going to put the glue that I need on the card to pull it out. I'm going to put a little bit heavier because with it not having the full circle enveloped on it, it may need a little more strength. Make sure your circle is right side up and then press it down. And we'll give that a moment to dry. There we go. And let's see if we can pull it out now. And there it is. And so you have this wonderful card here. You can write on here. You could add a few little, maybe we'll grab a sticker and add to it. And then you've got plenty of space on the back to journal. So let's grab a sticker from this month's stickers. And what could we add to that? We've got the beautiful birds, but I'm thinking a label maybe. Let's see. How about, I like this contrast with the green. Let's do this. And we'll add that down here at the bottom. And then maybe this number 90 up here. And we'll kind of, oops, well, that one just about chose the place for me. But as you see, if you don't let them go all the way down, you can grab them back up. There you go. You can also stamp it on these cards. You could stamp on them if you want. And then we're going to slide that back in. And now our card is hidden again. And you have a double card in there because you have your other file folder card. So there it is. Really fast and simple and fun journaling spot, or journaling card with double hidden spots. Kind of a mouthful to say there. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you give it a try. It's easy to make. You don't have to use the vellum. I just wanted to give that a try. But if you do want to use the vellum, I'd love to see what you do. Don't forget there is a subscription group on Facebook that you can, add any of your makes that you make to so that everyone can see them. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.